Hi there, my name's Tom, and this is the weekly politics video. Sorry I haven't been around much this week. It's been sweltering hot, and I've been zonked out. So, today's video, we're going to first start out with Texas and disaster relief. Um, there's linesmen sitting in their trucks, not doing anything. Why? Well, they got there, and suddenly the power company in Texas is like, well, we want to renegotiate your wages and your compensation. Now, there's also been some other funding headlines which are deliberately misleading. It's campaign season and people are trying to take advantage. Uh, very fast rundown. Number one, Texas governor said federal government's not providing disaster relief. Number two, federal government said, you have to submit the request and then we can sign off on it. Number three, Texas said, well, it's your fault. You should have told us we had to submit, but here it is. Four, federal government signed off of it within hours. So the funding is available. Five, even though the money is there to pay these people, to house them, and to get your grid back online, the Texas Power Company, which is not a public utility because Texas privatized their grid and it's been working out great ever since, is saying, well, we don't think we should have to pay that much. Which is crazy because they're not the ones paying it. They're trying to take the federal money and keep as much of it as they can for themselves. So yeah, if people start dying from heat stroke because the workers aren't restoring power, it's because people don't want to pay them. And you may be like, well, hey, you're electricians. What? This is your job. Well, I'm an electrician. I'm a journeyman wireman. And yeah, sometimes we chase those storms too. But if I drive 1,000 freaking miles and I get there to help, and then you tell me, hey, we don't want to pay you what we are supposed to pay you, even though the government's paying the money. We want to keep that money. It's like, well, screw you. I'm not. I can go work for better people. You're not going to cheat me after I drove 1,000 miles and expect me to actually go ahead and do the job anyway. That's not how that works. So, um, if you hear about the federal government withholding money, no, they didn't. If you hear about electricians refusing to work because they're greedy, no, it's not it either. Um, the money is available. It's being paid for by the federal government. And rich people are trying to keep that money and shortchange the workers. It really, really is upsetting to me. Number two, we'll talk about headlines and Biden and the debate in the Democratic Party. Because I think my favorite headline was uh, top Democrats are furious that Biden's decline was hidden from them. No, they're not. They're furious that it can no longer be hidden. This is some typical boomer and older Gen X nonsense. There's a problem of your own creation, you refuse to do anything about it, and now you blame somebody else for this failure. It's one of those things where it's like, well, yeah, Biden actually has done really good. Cut federal spending in half. Uh, the Trump economy started declining in 2019. I know that's not what Trump supporters believe, but that's when it started to collapse. Basically, when his policies took over and Obama's faded out. Then COVID took what would have been a slower decline and turned it into a nosedive. Uh, and yeah, it's been rocky, but He's been trying to hit a soft landing, and today's economic news, today being Thursday, is that inflation has actually literally reversed. For the first time in many, many, many years, it actually went down, I think something like 0.1%. Negative inflation is something that almost never happens. So, doesn't mean soft landing is definitely achieved. It means we are in possibly achieved. Now, that's only been achieved twice in the last 50 or 60 years. $140 billion of student debt relief achieved. Not the full $4 billion he promised, but wanted to. So he's been pretty good. But he's falling apart. And at this point, the only person who can decide he's not going to be the Democratic nominee is him. Because, the Democratic Party's always had a problem with doing just enough to keep their supporters without, I guess it's kind of like, well, if the other option is garbage, you only have to be slightly better than garbage. And right now, neither the Democratic Party nor the Republican Party can win an election with only the votes of their party members. They have to have the moderates and the independents, the centrists, the unaffiliated. They need that support. And, well, in a competition between grandpa with dementia and fascist grandpa with dementia, well, to a centrist or an independent, might be, well, whatever, And the Democratic Party's been the baseline voters of the Democratic Party, they hold their nose and they support Biden, even though he's an octogenarian. And before you start saying he's too old, so is Trump. He's 77, 78. Close enough. So there's that. And the Democratic Party was banking on that independent support. And it's probably disappearing. And they were probably banking on a whole lot of highly motivated baseline Democrats supporting Biden. And now they're like, uh-oh, this is not motivating at all. Okay, so next part, in terms of the headlines, well, why isn't the media giving Trump equal time in terms of criticism? Because of his debate performance. Well, it's because his debate performance was expected. It's on brand. Yes, absolutely nothing he said was true. He was brash, at some points incoherent, but mostly coherent. And, he's just a belligerent jerk. And you know what? His base knows this, and they support it, and they're happy to have a belligerent, bullying, race-baiting bigot. They want this a-hole. They approve of his cruelty and narcissism because he makes them feel good about their own toxic behaviors. He supports and encourages it, and he triggers their defense mechanisms and makes them afraid that people are going to take away their rights. That's the whole, Christmas is under attack because people are saying Happy Holidays. We say Merry Christmas. The immigrants are taking your jobs. No, the super wealthy are doing that. They're outsourcing it. The ones he gave the tax cut to. The tax cut that expired for us poors. And you know what? His base doesn't care about any of that either. They just want the anger. Somebody to blame that is weaker than they are, lower on the totem pole. They want a strong man to follow. So you can give him equal time and criticism, but that's not going to change anything. It's a waste of time. That's why people are changing the channel. It's also worth noting the people saying, why isn't the media giving Trump equal time, are people in the media. The real question is, why are your viewers changing the channel as you deliberately try to ignore a problem of your own creation and redirect away from something we already know about and isn't going to change anything? So there's that. This is the world we live in, and these are the hands we're given. Anyway, there's your weekly political video. I feel bad for the people in Texas. They can use your support. Please go ahead and look up some organizations, research them. There are always scammers. If you can donate 5, 10, 15 bucks, do it. Start sending letters to the governor's office and the representatives and senators, the state legislatures in Texas, and tell them, hey, get your power company in line. This is not the time to try to cheat people out of their wages, because people are going to die from that corporate greed. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe. Have a good day.